Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So today what I want to look at are the long tubed light fixtures. Find them on garbage day. A lot of times people have their reno projects, they throw them out, they want to upgrade to like pot lights and other modern lights. And the nice thing about these long light fixtures is that they are 99.9% scrappable material. A lot of steel, and steel prices are really high right now, which is great. A lot of copper. Copper's also gone up. There's a ballast and some brass. And what I want to do today is I'm going to take it apart, show you how to separate the stuff, where to find the goodies, and more importantly, how to divert this away from the landfill. Now, one word of caution, I am going to look at the smaller one here. Each one of these do contain a ballast. And before you open these up, there is a very important thing I want to talk about, and that is that if these light fixtures were made prior to 1980, the ballasts, if you open them up, they do contain PCB, which is very harmful. So before you open these ballasts up, and the nice thing is the ballasts actually, you can bring them into the scrapyard as is, the black box here, and get ballast price. It's about 6 to 10 cents a pound. It's probably gone up a little bit right now because of copper prices. But before you open this up, you want to check to see if it says PCB. Anything that was made after 1980, probably more modern now given the health concerns, they will say right on the ballast if it is PCB free. So I'm going to look at this small one right now, and as you can see, where is it? If I can find it, I'm going to look. Oh, right there. So it says, hope you can read that. Right there it says no PCBs. Okay, so that's the one, which is great. And the longer one here, I'm going to look as well. It says right there as well, no PCBs, larger print, which is good. Okay, so if there is no PCBs in there, you can go ahead and crack the top off of there. There is some copper in them. There's not a lot, but for the sake of this video, I am going to crack one of them open just to show you what's inside because people are curious. But as I said, you can bring these in and get the ballast weight price. I'm actually going to focus on the little one just right now because it's easier to handle. But as you can see, this bigger model as well is all steel. Okay, if I put a magnet to it, there's a magnet right on the back there. This is steel. It is very heavy. This actually combined right now weighs a good 15 pounds. A lot of it has come from the ballast, but there's some really nice wire here as well. You can see right there. This is, I will actually, because this is pretty thick, I will strip this. But if you did not want to strip this, this would be 60% copper recovery because there's only one coating of wire on this. So this actually, this wire alone would go for $1.83 a pound Canadian right now, which is great. So I'm going to actually focus on the other one. I found both of these on a job site, which has been awesome. Like I said, people are upgrading. And this one actually, as you can see, came with some more coated wire. And I'm actually just going to pull it through. It was cut, but I could just bring it through here. Okay, this is obviously easier to manage. Again, same thing. They're all built the same. There's my ballast here. It's just bolted down and screwed in. There is, right in the light connections where the tube would go or the light bulb would go, there is some brass in here. This little plastic is probably the only plastic on here. The rest of this is going to be scrapped. Okay, so I'm just going to first of all get to this. I'm going to take my safety glasses, make sure I have them on, because anytime I am working with plastic and breakables and any of those things, I definitely do not want to get a screw or a piece of plastic break off into my face. All right, so I'm gonna just take this off right now, just gonna break that open. Oh, I gotta get both screws, sorry. All right, now it is a little chilly in here, so my hands are not moving as quick as my brain. So I apologize for that, but that's all right. Maybe if I keep working, it'll get me warmed up. And someone might say, well, why aren't you just wearing a sweatshirt? Because I'm crazy. I love the cold. And I just put it on the other side there. So, this was just a little bit of steel. Maybe this should have gone on my bloopers reel. But this is a little bit of steel that's going to go into my steel pile. Okay. What I have now is the connector. Okay, and this is just plastic. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this. I'm going to open it up. And all I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to take a hammer and just break this plastic to reveal the brass prongs in here. Okay, so I'm going to put it beside my vise. There you go. That doesn't take much at all. Just a little smashy. And as you can see, inside, once I open it, there we go. You can see some really nice brass. So, gotta get my pliers and pull these out. There's some nice brass there. I'm just gonna pull it through. One. Okay, and the nice thing about this brass, this is classified as yellow brass, or the good stuff. Right now in Canada, this is going for about $1.90 a pound. And this is definitely not a pound worth, but I just put it separate. When you go to the scrap yards, it is important that you separate your clean brass, your gold brass, from your coated, so the metallic looking brass. That is a lower value. So if you mix them all together, you're gonna get lower price. So this is your higher money maker. Okay, and the rest of this is, unfortunately, there's a little bit of steel. I could get that out, and I could actually, because there is steel in this, and there's not much plastic, I have two options. I could either just throw this into my steel pile and add it to the weight there, because there is a little bit of steel, or I could separate it, break off the plastic, put the plastic in the garbage, and the steel in the steel. But either way, they are, that plastic is the only garbage there is. Okay, so there's two handles here, obviously. I want to quickly look at this wire first. Now, this wire, if I look inside, there is a little bit of paper. Okay, there is an outer coating. There are 3 really nice copper strands. So, as is, this would go in Canada as 40% copper recovery. And that's because what the scrapyards look at is they look at copper to plastic ratio and copper recovery. Because there is an exterior shell, plastic, and coating inside on the copper, there's more plastic, so it's less copper recovery. Because this would be very easy to take out, all I would actually do, and currently this would go for $1.23 Canadian a pound, which is a good price. But to maximize my profit and upgrade this, all I'm going to do is actually just take a knife, slide it down there to peel off the exterior shell. If you have a wire stripper, which I do, I could definitely just throw it through. It's very quick. Take the outer shell off, and I've just upped it with just using these 3 strands to $1.83 a pound. If you want, you could, some people do strip everything. For me, I don't like to strip little strands like this because, as you can see, they are really thin. They're messy, I find, but you're more than welcome to. If you do strip that, clean copper, this would be number 2 because it is very fine. And currently, Canada, number 2 copper right now is going for $3.50 a pound. So that's an excellent price, okay? But just taking this outer coating off, you're gonna go from $1.23 to $1.83 a pound, okay? So very simple to do. So there is one wire here. As I said before, this wire is only, if you look inside, 1 layer of plastic. So this would be your 60% recovery. But because this is only 1 strand, okay, it's a lot different, this is easier to strip. Okay, and I'm actually going to do it right now. I'm just going to pull one off just to use as an example. Okay, I'm going to put some glasses on. I just have a cheap Mastercraft basic wire, handheld wire stripper here. I do have an electric one for my bigger jobs, but just for the sake of this video, I'm just going to quickly see if I can do it. Okay. Okay, there you go. So there is some nice copper. Doesn't take much. I just throw it in there. My brother, he can do this a lot faster because he's got the professional tools. Okay. But as you can see, if I went all the way down, that's a nice piece of copper. And although it looks very shiny and bright, some people might say, well, that's going to be classified as bare bright. Yes, it is nice and shiny. Bare bright right now is the highest Canadian price, or any price in scrapyard for copper. It's the shiny penny look. It's going currently for $4.10 a pound, which is amazing. But this would not be classified as bare bright. The rule is if the wire is less than 16 gauge, or for those that don't know what that is, less than a pencil lead thick, it will be classified as number 2. So still, you're getting $3.50 a pound, which is amazing. Okay, it definitely does add up. Okay, and there is a lot of nice wire on here. Okay, if you did not want to take the time to strip this, this would still be $1.83 a pound, which is still great. Okay, so it's up to you. The last thing I want to look at is the ballast. Okay, as I said already, the ballast is its own price at a scrapyard. All right, and it's about 6 to 10 cents a pound. This is heavy. I'm feeling it right now. It's a nice weight. But for those curiosity seekers, I'm going to show you what's inside. Okay, it does have a nice steel panel on it. All right, this weighs probably 2 pounds. Okay, so it's a nice size. The other one is a little bit bigger. Okay, but it does have a coating, steel coating that I am going to have to take off. I don't want to use my grinder. I want to just hit it with the hammer and some chisels. Once I pull the rest of this copper wire out, the rest of this tube is steel. Okay, and steel right now, as I said, I've never seen it this price. It is at, I think, $270 a ton. Okay, which is amazing right now. And the rest of this will be going into my steel pile. So the only thing from this ballast that was garbage was this, okay? And there's still a little bit of steel in this. So that is amazing that this has been I've been able to take this out of the landfill, make a little bit of money on this for charity. But as I said, the environment is the most important thing, reclaiming our precious metals. All right, so back to my ballast. I'm gonna put it in the vise. Alright, and the first thing I'm going to just try to do, because it has got a nice metal exterior shell, I'm really not worried about damaging it, and it's going to the scrap anyway. Okay, so just putting it in the vise, I'm just going to pull the bottom flap off, or flap. Okay, there's a couple of them, and I'm just going to see if I can kind of weasel this in using pliers. Okay, very simple to take off, as you can see. There will be a couple coatings to the bottom. Then I got to slip the screwdriver inside, pull the flap up. Okay, so there's a couple little pieces to this. Again, I am not worried. There's no PCB in this, so that's good. I'm sure someone will comment that says there's other chemicals in there, but this is for educational purposes. Normally, I would not open it. Alright, so there's the first one. There's the first part. This is steel now. I don't know if I don't drop and break it. Well, if it did have PCBs in it, it would definitely have released it. So this is the inside. That is your steel cover. Okay, and inside here, it's really weird. You've got a lot of this like plastic-y coating. It's almost like a solid bar. All I'm going to do, if you can see on the bottom, there's some wire that goes through it. there is actually also some steel. If I put a magnet to that, there it is. So you can just start seeing underneath the plastic little plates of steel. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit it with a hammer to try and knock this stuff off. I just cleaned my garage, so I'm gonna have to do that again. Underneath there is, you can see, there's a nice like tube going down, taking out the plastic. Inside of here, there will be a little bit of copper mesh. You can see that I've exposed a little bit of the clean copper here, okay, as well as some little wires. But it is very messy, and as you can see, I'm losing a lot of weight if I try to get to the copper inside from the plastic covering. Okay, and that is not a good thing. I don't want to take this all the way apart, but... Alright, so, as you can see, inside, I just revealed, right there, there is some spools of copper, right there. And it will go, it's kind of like a transformer. It will go just spooled around the plastic. Okay, so there will be pockets of copper down this. Now I'm actually just kind of curious. I'm just going to take a screwdriver, actually, a flathead, and I'm just going to actually, just because I'm curious as well now, just put it down there and maybe see if I can scrape it off. Without ruining my screwdriver. Okay, so if I opened up this casing, and I could use a grinder and just open it up, you are going to get some copper spools right there. And it actually, I'm looking inside, there is some pretty good copper in there. Okay, there's a lot of copper wiring there. So what I actually might do then is I'm going to cut the steel off with a grinder. And what I'm going to do is, after I cut the steel off, I'm going to throw this tube into my number 2 copper. I'm going to take the steel and I'm going to throw it into my steel copper for this one. As I said, I would not open this on a regular day, even with the price of copper. As I said, it's very dirty. If you look at my bench here, it is pretty messy right now. So would I do this on a regular day? Probably not. Okay, so this was strictly for educational purposes. I would rather just get the 6 to 10 cents a pound for the ballast. As I said, you do still, if you take the copper out, there is a little bit of copper, and usually I will scrap my copper, but there is some steel on this as well, which is great. You know, so it's entirely up to you. But I just wanted to show you what's inside a ballast, and you know, show you another electronic or piece of appliance that you will find on scrap day that you can get a little bit of profit on, and more importantly, divert from the landfill. Please comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.